diamond industry, is epitomized by India being, it's 2,500 years old. India is actually becoming more and more important as a place to buy diamonds and as a place to wear the most beautiful diamond jewelry on earth.
When we talk about the market in India, it's at around $9 billion right now. How do you see it growing going forward over the next 5-10 years?
The diamond demand in India has grown over 10% a year, double-digit growth every year for the last 4 years, incredibly strongly. And of course, that's on the back of the incredible GDP growth.
Don't see lab-grown diamonds as a competition to natural diamonds, or do you think that both can coexist forever?
I think both can coexist. Diamond industry was by India and from India. Today, it's to India and for India.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the BT podcast. I'm Sakshi, Batra. If you've ever found yourself dreaming about owning a diamond, chances are there is one company that's the reason behind that desire. In 1947, De Beers, the world's leading diamond company, gave the world 4 iconic words. A diamond is forever. And that completely changed the way the world looked at this sparkling carbon. Of course, over the years, we have seen diamond as an industry grow by manifold in various industries. And that's also probably one of the reasons why engagement rings and proposals have also become such a big thing. Cut to today, when we look at a lot of disruptions taking place in the industry as well. We have alternatives like lab-grown diamonds. There's also geopolitical pressures. There's oversupply. There's a weak consumer demand. And the precious diamond is facing all of these challenges. And therefore, on this BT podcast today, we will try to find out what does the word forever mean in today's world when we talk about diamonds. Let's welcome our very special guest today, Mr. Al Cook, who is the global CEO of De Beers. Warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here in India.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be having you in India. And this time around, it's even more important to try and understand from you, because would you also say that the diamond industry is perhaps facing its toughest times or the biggest challenges yet?
I wouldn't go that far. I think there are always challenges, but the diamond industry, is epitomized by India being, it's 2,500 years old in this country, from the days when diamonds were found in Golconda and worn in battle as a source of strength, as a talisman. So we've had our ups and downs over the millennia, over the centuries. And that's why I love coming to India so much, because there's this long-standing traditional love for diamonds in this country. And of course, with the incredible economic boom that we're seeing in India at the moment, India is actually becoming more and more important as a place to buy diamonds and as a place to wear the most beautiful diamond jewelry on earth.
Absolutely, Mr. Cook, you rightly pointed out, many people wouldn't realize that India for the world has been an originating place for diamonds. 2,500 years ago, when the first time around you pointed out diamonds were found in Golconda, today's Andhra Pradesh, I should tell you all our viewers as well. But when we talk about the way India has been looked at as a market for even consuming diamonds, slowly and gradually, now it's even overtaken China. It's now the second largest market there in terms of consumption of diamonds. How would you look at India of today?
It's so great for India because for the last few decades, India has been the place where 90% of the world's diamonds are cut and polished. But traditionally, they would then get sold off to the United States or Europe or the Middle East. So the diamond industry was by India and from India. Today, it's to India and for India. And India has overtaken China to become the world's second largest diamond market, which is a tremendous accomplishment and shows how the middle classes here are getting wealthier and want to really celebrate the most important moments of their life with diamond jewelry. So it's a huge Indian success story, but in a sense for me, diamonds are coming home. They're coming home to where it started 2,500 years ago.
That's a wonderful way to put it. When we talk about the market in India, it's at around $9 billion right now. How do you see it growing going forward over the next 5-10 years?
So over the last 4 years, the diamond demand in India has grown over 10% a year, double-digit growth every year for the last 4 years, incredibly strongly. And of course, that's on the back of the incredible GDP growth in India. We're seeing 8% GDP growth at the moment, which is extraordinary. And you feel it everywhere you go. I've just come from the airport in Delhi, and you see the construction, you see the activity, you see the confidence in this country. And that's what we're really seeing behind the expansion of the diamond industry. And we in De Beers are privileged to be a part of that. And we've increased our own marketing here in India. And of course, we've also increased our own investment.
Absolutely. Let's come to that and find out how India has grown strategically important as a market, even for De Beers here. Over the last couple of years, I think the maximum amount of investments that you've done has actually come in the last couple of years. Give us an understanding of how do you see, India as a market. You're also launching the biggest store in India, Forever Mark. So give us a sense of how are you looking at it?
Well, De Beers has been in India for decades. In fact, we even explored for diamonds here a few years ago. And for the last 10 years, we've had an Institute of Diamonds here, which really sets standards on diamonds around the world. But this year is really special because over the last few months, we've opened up 4 Forever Mark stores. And this week, we're going to be opening up the 5th Forever Mark store. And Forever Mark is our iconic brand for India, by India. And the store that we're opening up in Mumbai this week is going to be our largest store that we own as De Beers anywhere in the world. This will be our flagship for India, but also globally, one of the largest, in fact, the largest store that we have anywhere on planet Earth. So we're not just putting our words into India, we're now putting our actions and our investment into this country.
Absolutely. So when we talk about, the kind of importance that India has grown to get for De Beers as well, give us an understanding of how would you gauge your own investments going into the future? Why I put this question clearly is because there is so much of disruption taking place. We have been seeing over the last couple of years so many geopolitical pressures. There's been the new tariff policy that's also impacted diamonds as an industry as well from India into the exports world. So give us a sense of how would you plan your strategic investments looking at all these disruptions?
Well, I think disruption is going to be a key word for 2026. It's already been a busy set of news headlines so far this year. And of course, 2025 itself was a year of disruption and turbulence. And I think if you look at the world being geopolitically disrupted, actually, India becomes a very successful, stable, growing economy. And it's done tremendously well. So all this noise and thunderstorms and hailstorms and everything else going on around the world, but India has steadily grown throughout that period. Now, geopolitically, tariffs are very challenging for the diamond industry. We're a global industry. And of course, the fact that there are 50% tariffs on India from the United States is a disruption to the diamond industry. But I'm very confident that between the United States government and between the Indian government, that we're going to see a resolution to that, and we're going to see those tariffs go away for diamonds entirely, so that diamonds can flow around the world the way they should. There shouldn't be a tax on love.
Okay, there shouldn't be a tax on love. That's a great way of putting at it. What are the other challenges do you see at this point in time, or what is your number one challenge as a diamond industry right now?
I think it's as well as tariffs in the short term, in the longer term, it's making sure that we distinguish between natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds. And they both have a role to play. And I'm delighted that in India, the BIS has come out with very clear standards differentiating lab-grown diamonds, synthetic diamonds on the one hand, and natural diamonds on the other hand. And has been very clear that you can only call a diamond if it's a natural diamond. And that's really important. Both lab-grown diamonds and natural diamonds have their role, but natural diamonds are incredible. They're more than 1 billion years old. Every single one is unique, and they're getting rarer and rarer and rarer. So I'm very pleased that together with the Indian institutions, we're making sure that consumers stay aware of the difference and are kept safe in terms of their purchasing, because diamonds can be such a store of value for the future. And it's really important that people know what they're buying, and they can be very confident that the diamond they're buying is a true natural diamond.
Absolutely. How would you explain to a first-time buyer who would want to dabble between a lab-grown diamond and diamond? How would you tell that person as to what is the difference that that person should remember when making that purchase?
I think the first thing is that one is worth 20 times as much as the other. So today I could purchase a 1 carat lab-grown diamond wholesale for around about $50, so 5,000 rupees. A natural diamond would cost 20 times that. So that's very important to know that we're talking about two very different things here. If you want something fun and fashionable and good value, lab-grown diamonds can be wonderful for that. If you want something truly precious and rare and unique that really will matter to you over time and will become rarer over time, that's a natural diamond. So they both have their roles, but we, of course, are in love
So
with
you
natural
don't see
diamonds.
lab-grown diamonds as a competition to natural diamonds, or do you think that both can coexist forever?
I think both can coexist. And more, as the prices for them diverge, they coexist in the same way that diamonds have coexisted with cubic zirconia or crystal over the years. I think they both have wonderful attributes, but they're very, very different things.
When you talk about the prices, I've also seen that diamond prices have also fallen. I think they peaked in 2022 and thereafter they have been correcting about 25% odd. This is also the same time when we've actually seen the other precious metals like gold and silver surge with a record run-up that nobody ever imagined. When diamonds are also looked at as an investment opportunity, how would you explain to the investors when the prices are falling right now? What are the key reasons? Why are prices falling so much?
Well, I think the first thing to say is if you look at the price of a diamond at retail in the United States, say a 1-carat diamond ring, the price of that has stayed stable for the last 5-10 years. So that's been a good source of stability there. Rough diamond prices always go down and they go up. And with the tariffs, with lab-grown diamonds, we've seen rough diamond prices fall. We're very confident that over the long term, there'll be a tremendous store of value because, quite frankly, they're not making them anymore. The earth has stopped making natural diamonds. In fact, we've only discovered one new diamond mine so far this century. And diamond supply has been going down for the last 15 plus years. And we expect it to go down in 2026 as well. So when you've got something that's rare and it's becoming rarer, that's a good way to look at whether it'll appreciate in value.
So in 2026, what's your sense? How will the prices be? Will they recover? Will they bounce back? Or is there still further some room for correction?
I think at the retail level, they'll stay pretty constant. At a wholesale level, I think we'll see something quite interesting happen, which is the really large diamonds, the kind of diamonds that you might see on a celebrity's engagement ring, Taylor Swift's engagement ring. They're already going up in value. We're already seeing demand outweigh supply. On the other side, small diamonds at a wholesale level, they've come down a lot in price, and we see that being a much more gradual recovery over the years because there's been some oversupply of that over the last few years. So it's a bit of a difference now between the larger diamonds that are truly iconic going up in value and the smaller diamonds, which will take some time, I think, to recover.
Okay. When we also talk about, you talked about as one of the challenges being lab-grown diamonds. I wanted to ask you, for anybody who wants to purchase lab-grown diamond vis-a-vis a natural diamond, how should one identify whether you're paying the right price? Because that's where the gray area emerges. You did say that there is a 20 times difference in a natural diamond, whereas what you pay on the lab-grown diamonds. There's not so much clarity in India as to which are the brands which are giving you authentic lab-grown diamonds at this point in time. Even you had dabbled into the same space by launching Lightbox in 2018 as a lab-grown brand, as an extension from De Beers, but you shut it in 2025. Give us a sense of what really is happening and how should a customer really approach this space? It seems to be a very confusing and a gray area space right now.
Well, I think the biggest difference between natural and lab-grown diamonds is natural diamonds are rare and they're limited in their quantity because the earth has stopped producing them. Whereas lab-grown diamonds are not rare, they can be produced in unlimited amounts. So there's a big difference there. I think the Indian regulators have been very clear in making sure that the Indian consumer is protected through very, very clear wording and nomenclature. So if you're buying a lab-grown diamond, it should say synthetic diamond or lab-created diamond or lab-grown diamond next to it. It'll never say diamond. That's really important. Beyond that, we can tell the difference in 3 seconds through our testing equipment.
Okay.
So if you fire light at a natural diamond, it glows for a while. If you fire light at a lab-grown diamond, it doesn't glow because it's made so fast. It's made in just a few days versus a billion years for the natural diamond. So we can tell the difference, but it's very important that retailers don't rely on that. They're very clear with their consumers, with their customers on the difference as well.
Can ever technology, beat the kind of testing equipments that we have today? What if they create a lab-grown diamond, which is absolutely, difficult to tell apart from the natural diamond? Could that be a possibility? Are you concerned about it?
No, because they're so different. Um, a natural diamond grows organically over 1 billion years, whereas a lab-grown diamond is put together very fast. So think of it as the difference between teak wood and chipboard. They're both wood. They've both got carbon inside, but no one will ever be able to design a chipboard wood that looks the same, that is the same as teak when you cut into it. So they're inherently different things, and we'll always be able to tell the difference between them. But it's very important that retailers continue to be very honest about the difference, because they're worth so much different prices. So it's very important that we don't rely just on technology.
What about Lightbox? What was the thought behind launching it and then shutting it in 2025? Could you give us a sense of that?
Certainly. So we started Lightbox back in 2017 in order to make sure that consumers were aware of the difference between lab-grown diamonds and natural diamonds. And what Lightbox did at the time is it offered lab-grown diamonds at $800 a carat. Now today, you can buy a lab-grown diamond wholesale for $50 a carat. So in a sense, Lightbox's job was done. If you're getting to a place where a natural diamond costs 20 times as much as a lab-grown diamond, there's no more differentiation to be done. Lightbox's work was done, and therefore we decided to shut it. But very positively, what we've done is we've taken all of that equipment that we were using for lab-grown diamonds, and we've converted it to make what we call technology diamonds. And diamonds are an extraordinary part of the quantum revolution of AI, of data centers, because they have these amazing electronic properties that means they can play a key role in the technology revolution. So although for us, lab-grown diamonds are gone, they're not forgotten because we're using them in industry, and that's really exciting.
You've also had a lot of partnerships with Indian players like even Tanishq, for instance. And give us a sense, because last week itself, Tanishq has also dabbled into the same space. Beyond is their brand where they've launched lab-grown diamonds. Does it bring a sense of authenticity again when brands which have been long existing, giving you that trust factor in other forms of jewelry, including gold and silver, and now in diamonds as well? When they create a niche of lab-grown diamonds, what is it that you would want to tell them?
So actually, we don't need to tell Tanishq anything. They're a great company. They've been a great partner for us. They will be a great partner for us. De Beers and Tanishq think about diamonds in a very, very similar way, which is they're very different when you're talking about natural diamonds, very different from lab-grown diamonds. And Tanishq has decided to have two totally separate brands, Tanishq for natural diamonds and Beyond for lab-grown diamonds. You will never see a lab-grown diamond inside a Tanishq store. I'm very confident of that when I speak to our counterparts at Tanishq. But they've done it brilliantly, because what they're saying is they can have fun, fashionable jewelry for a young audience through Beyond. They won't offer a buyback on it. They know that the value of the lab-grown diamonds is not going to hold up, so you won't get a buyback on it. And on the other hand, in Tanishq, they produce stunningly beautiful natural diamond jewelry with all the guarantees, with all the backup that you would expect from a fantastic Indian natural diamond retailer. So we see the world, I think, in a very similar way to Tanishq. I'm very proud of the partnership we have with them.
Fantastic. When we talk about engagement rings, that's something that De Beers really put the spotlight on back in 1947, equating diamonds with love, with commitment, with this is something that will stay forever. Slowly and gradually, when we have seen the surge of lab-grown diamonds, do you see a loss of market share there within the engagement rings aspect, both in the US and in India?
So we've seen engagement rings evolve tremendously over time. So if you go back 100 years, engagement rings were really something that kings and queens gave to each other. They were for royalty. And what De Beers did in 1947 is it opened up natural diamond engagement rings to new middle-class people who wanted, after the Second World War, they wanted to celebrate their unions. They wanted to celebrate being together. They wanted to celebrate partnerships. And that's really grown over time. That sense of a diamond is forever, and engagement rings have become an icon of the 20th century and now an icon of the 21st century. And we still see that a natural diamond is the right stone for an engagement ring. There's something really special about a diamond that you're going to wear on your finger every day. When you go out, when you stay in, that's part of you. We think it's very appropriate that that's a natural diamond. And it's true, particularly in the United States. You could buy much larger lab-grown diamonds for the same price as a natural diamond. So we've seen people buying more lab-grown diamonds there. It's getting to a point in America now where the diamond you can buy is so cheap as a lab-grown diamond that I think people want to spend something that's appropriate for getting engaged. So I think we're going to see people coming back to natural diamonds in the United States for engagement rings, coming back to where they started, because they want something to celebrate their wedding that costs more than the dinner that they had that night.
That's true. I want to also ask you, how is the Gen Z population really looking at diamonds at this point in time? They are going to be the biggest spenders of the next 50 years. So how are you really approaching that segment of the population?
I think it's a tremendously exciting time. And Gen Z is representing a tremendously exciting market, different ways of looking at things. But one thing that's really emerging as a trend is a focus on what is natural. At a time when I can buy synthetic meat, or I can go back to organic meat, at a time when I can get endless AI replicas, but I want to understand what's authentic, I think people more and more want something that's natural, want something that's authentic, want something that's truly theirs, rather than something that can be replicated by its millions, whether it's an AI companion, whether it's a synthetic meat, whether it's a lab-grown diamond. People don't want fakes. They don't want copies. They want the real thing. So I think what we're seeing is quite an interesting trend with Gen Z of coming back to what's really authentic, what's really valuable, what's rare, what's important, what's personal to me.
Yeah. But also, the next generation or Gen Z and the ones that are coming after are growing in a very climate conscious environment as well. And when it comes to sustainability, they are very, very aware about things. And we have seen how our diamond industry has faced a lot of criticism in the past when it came to ethically, sourcing of these diamonds. Of course, De Beers has created a landmark when it comes to finding the kind of policies that there are in ethical sourcing and recovering of these diamonds. Give us a sense of when people do know that there's so much of going on in earth, when you have to and you have other options available like the lab grown diamonds, what would you choose as environmentally conscious human being later on?
So I think there's two very different important things that you've highlighted there. One is ethical diamonds and the other is sustainable diamonds. Yeah. So let's start with ethical diamonds. So back more than 20 years ago, the United Nations created the Kimberley process, which ensures that there can be no conflict diamonds coming through. And they've largely eliminated conflict diamonds as a result. So now today you can buy a diamond from Botswana, you can buy a diamond from Namibia, from South Africa, from Canada, absolutely confident in the knowledge that it's an ethical diamond. And indeed, more than that, it's done real good around the mines, it's done real good for the communities. One of the promises we have in De Beers is that for every job that we have in a mine, we will create 5 jobs outside the mine. So we're really creating ethical economies around mines. The second point you made was around sustainability. And that's really important because it takes a lot of energy to get a natural diamond out of the earth. Sometimes they're buried more than a kilometer down inside the earth. So what we're doing there is we're bringing in renewable energy. And I'm really excited because 2026 will be the year where we connect our big Venetia mine in South Africa to big solar and wind power generation. And that'll mean that we can start generating renewable electricity. That means that our mines can move towards sustainable, renewable electricity. I like to say you can buy any diamond as long as it's green.
Absolutely. You did point out in your conversation that 2026 could be a year of a lot of disruptions, and that's how the year could be defined by. Do you think in this kind of a disruptive world that the diamond industry is facing right now, is there need for another iconic campaign like A Diamond is Forever that could bring back all the attention to those rarity that you were talking about?
So it's a fascinating question because a diamond is forever are 4 words that have stood the test of time, much like much like diamonds themselves. So we have that stability. We think that a diamond is forever will resonate for decades and centuries to come. But over that time since 1947, the way that people buy diamonds has changed completely. So if you look at that advertisement that first appeared in 1947, it was a white man giving a white diamond to a white girl as an engagement ring. Today, diamonds are bought overwhelmingly for different reasons. They're bought by women who want to buy them for themselves. Different colors of diamonds are bought. The diamond I'm wearing today is a yellow diamond, and it's unique in terms of its shape, and people want something that truly reflects their personality. So over time, although a diamond is forever has stayed the same, we're seeing more and more individuality, more and more people buying it for themselves. And you asked about advertising campaigns. We've had 2 really successful campaigns over the last few months in India. We've had Love from Dad, which is a fantastic campaign around second piercings. And that's been multi-award winning in India. It's done so well. And then, of course, we've sponsored the iconic IPL. And we know that if there's one thing in India that's even more popular than diamonds, it's cricket.
Absolutely. What are the other collaborations that we should be excited about from De Beers back in India that connects with the Indians at large?
So we'll be launching more and more over the course of this year. We're beginning to set up a series of rituals where people can think about how they mark the most important moments in their life. And one of the processes, one of the campaigns that we're going through at the moment, one of the things we're really highlighting is the love in India for celebrating best friends, besties. So we'll be seeing special jewelry that people can buy together with their besties that really celebrates the friendship. So that'll be something that's uniquely Indian and unique to 2025, 2026 going forward. But I said earlier that India is more and more setting a market up for itself. It's also inspiring the rest of the world. So I've got an 18-year-old daughter back in England who is inspired by the Indian campaign, Love from Dad. And of course, now she wants a second piercing in her ears.
Oh my God. And are you permitting that or not?
I am, but don't ask her mother.
Okay. Lastly, if I have to ask you, for all the critics of diamonds who want to say that maybe this campaign has to change forever because, you have so many different alternatives emerging. Later on, we will have more. What will you say that within the diamond will stay forever?
I think the love in India for diamonds will stay forever. There aren't many things that stay precious, stay valued, stay rare, stay iconic for 2,500 years. And I think in this country, we've just seen that over the hundreds and hundreds of years, diamonds have stayed iconic, they've stayed precious, they've stayed really, really special. And I think we can be very confident that will continue forever.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Cook, for being with us on BT Podcast. And here's wishing you all the very best for your continuing India journey. And of course, looking forward to seeing the biggest ever store that you've launched here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.